So, hello everyone. Welcome to our second day of Introduction to Cybersecurity event by Club ENSA from ENSA. This event is the first event of the year organized by Club ENSA, and I'm Kharim. I am a second-year engineering student cybersecurity in the National School of Computer Science and Systems Analysis in Rabat, Morocco. And I am the head of the organization and conferences cell in the INSEC Club. So today for our agenda, we will have 3 workshops. And we brought for our event 3 skilled professionals that, from different places, from different countries, from Egypt, from Tanzania, and from Morocco. And between each workshop, we will have a tombola as usual to win 3 places for the platform Quick Labs brought by our partner Google Club from Tanger, ENSA Tanger. And we would like to thank them and to thank all of our sponsors and partners and Cyber Talents for hosting our CTF competition that will be announced later tonight. And after each workshop, we will have to stop the live, so you will be notified by the start of each workshop. So the first workshop will be about threat modeling in penetration testing, and we presented by Kharim Shata. I don't know if I pronounce the name well, but this is the agenda. It will start after 5 minutes with our guest. After that, we will have to stop to make to sort 3 winners for the Quick Labs platform. Then we will make a pause to until 3 p.m. to start another workshop. And after that too, we will have to stop this live again and have 3 winners. Then at the end, we have the last workshop by Bouchkaren Said. And that's it for the agenda. I hope you enjoy it and you participate too with your comments, and you give attention to what the guests will present to you, because this is a very interesting topics. So we will have to wait until the first workshop starts. And for that, I'd like you to stay with us and enjoy. Yeah, sorry. Hello, Mr. Kharim.
Hello, good
How
afternoon.
you
How are you?
doing? Good, fine, thank you. And you?
I'm very good. How is Morocco?
So good.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for accepting our invitation and giving us this opportunity to listen from you with
Yes,
an interesting topic.
yes, that's totally fine.
Thank you.
Um,
So I'll let you present.
okay, thank you. Well, hello guys. Hope you're all doing good. My name is Kareem, and today my topic of interest will be on threat modeling and penetration testing. So let me just share my screen with you guys so that we can get started. Okay. Okay. So as I said initially, my the topic of today that I'll be presenting will be on threat modeling. So who am I? So my name is Kareem. I am the CEO of HACK IT Consultancy, a cybersecurity company located here in Tanzania, where we offer cybersecurity services like penetration testing, digital forensics, writing security policies, vulnerability assessment, etc. So we cover all cybersecurity related issues and try to help companies fight against cyber criminals. My profession is based on penetration testing and digital forensics. I managed to get the best of two worlds. And at the same time, I am the founder of Hack It, sorry. It's a cybersecurity community here in Tanzania. I'm a CTF player, I'm a blogger, I'm an author at eForensics and Pentest magazine, and I'm a subject expert matter in DW Swahili. So basically, I try my level best to provide awareness using our local language, which is Swahili. So by now you must be wondering, what is threat modeling? Now, before we get into threat modeling, we need to understand that there are two aspects in terms of threat modeling. There is the business aspect, and at the same time, there is the attackers aspect. So we're going to cover both aspects and see how these two parties interpret threat modeling. So going to the business aspect, threat modeling is basically the process of identifying all your assets and then protecting them from all kinds of threats like hackers and malicious programs like viruses, worms, trojans, etc. So on that note, let's take a look at Bruce Wayne's threat model. Basically, we're trying to get a visual representation of how threat modeling can be done and also how you can map your assets in a general nexus. So on your bottom right-hand side, you can see the vectors. So basically, these are risks that are associated with the attack vectors. That's how we do it when you're doing threat modeling. So this is on the aspect of the business side. So when you look at Batman's assets, we can see that Batman has his Batcave. At the same time, he has Alfred, who is his butler or his assistant, who helps him out in fighting crimes in a day-to-day basis. And then we have his emails, and at the same time, we have his cell phones. So we've already mapped out his assets. Now, let's look at what type of threats that these assets of Batman are going to encounter, in other words. So let's look at the attackers of Batman. So you can see we have the police in place who definitely don't like Batman. And then we have the Joker, who has always been the arch enemy of Batman. And then finally, we have the journalist. So as you can see, we've already mapped out the assets that Batman
Sorry
has.
for interruption. I think you are not sharing the screen where there is a diasporama. Just
Uh,
another screen.
okay, let me try to reshare again. Okay, just a moment. Sorry. Let me see. What about now?
Yes, we see. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see one moment. So let me just fast forward. Sorry about that. I hope you can still see it, right?
Just a black screen.
Yeah, you can see the screen, right?
Right.
Okay, perfect. So let me go back where I had left off, which was here. So basically, I was saying these were the Batman's assets.
I think the screen is still black, right?
It's still black?
Yes.
Okay, let me do, I don't know what's happening. Let me see. There?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So I was saying this we've already managed to map out Batman's assets, and at the same time we have managed to see what threats that Batman assets can encounter. So now here we're going to provide risks associated with the attackers to the assets that Batman has. So starting with the police, when the police manages to get the Batman cave to Batman, the risk is low, simply because the police wouldn't do much with the Batman cave. But when you look at the email, the police can be able to snoop in the emails and read the contents of the emails that Batman is using. And at the same time, the police will be able to know who are the guys helping Batman out. So when you compare Batman's cave and the email to the police, the email has a little bit more risk to the police because Batman already knows that the police have tools that can facilitate them to be able to read the contents of his email. Now, when we go to the Joker, the risk that Joker has to the Batman cave is medium, simply because when Joker manages to get the Batman cave, he knows that he can do anything on the cave. For example, he can blow up the cave and Batman will end up with no Batman cave. So that would be a threat. So on that aspect, then for the Joker to the Batman cave, the threat is going to be medium. Now, when you go to the Joker to Alfred, Alfred is very well close to Batman, or Bruce Wayne, in other words, because he has been, let's say, a father figure to Batman. So if Joker manages to tie the link between Bruce Wayne and Batman and Alfred, then the risk is going to be high, because once Batman loses Alfred, then it's going to be very traumatizing to him on his side. And that's why we have categorized the Joker to Alfred as a high risk. When we go to the journalists, all the journalists care about is making the next great news to the public. So they'll be trying their level best to get the emails and cell phone to see what's going on Bruce Wayne or slash Batman. And once they get that information, they'll just publish it, and nothing of importance is going to come from there. And that's why we've mapped that to low risk priority to Batman. Now, back again to Batman. So we've already been able to map out Batman's assets. We've already been able to know what risks that the attackers have to Batman's assets. Now, the next thing as a business or as Batman, in other words, will do is try his level best and set up controls that are going to mitigate all these risks that are associated to his assets. So for the police, he's going to set up, excuse me, he's going to set up a CCTV camera so that he can know from far away who is coming, is it a threat or not a threat, and take precautions based on that. And for Alfred, he's going to try his level best not to link up a relationship between Batman and Bruce Wayne, and also at the same time hide the location of Alfred. And then finally, for the journalists, so the email and cell phone assets, what he's going to do is use the most advanced level encryption mechanism to protect his assets from sniffers and basically people trying to get the information that he'll be communicating with other people outside from him, basically. So the next step is looking at threat modeling from the attacker's perspective. So from the attacker's perspective, basically here the attacker will tend to look for an easier way route into the asset. So the attacker will try to minimize the time that he'll spend on trying to attack a target by threat modeling the target and trying to identify the easier way in to the assets. So from an attacker's perspective, this is how it will look like. So number one, the attacker will try to understand the target. What are they doing? What is their business model? What assets are they having, or what assets are exposed on the public? Or are there any subdomains associated to their main domain, etc.? And then later on, he's going to set up an objective. What does he want to achieve at the end of the day? Does he want to just gain access at the back end of the web application, if that's the asset that he's trying to attack? Or is he trying to get access to the web server itself and then perform other malicious activities? So he's going to formulate an objective that he wants to achieve at the end of the day. And then later on, he's going to list the tasks that he wants to achieve. So let's assume that, okay, so based on this web application, I'll have to look for valid credentials. So basically usernames and passwords. After that, I'm going to try and gain my way into the back panel. And then after that, what am I supposed to do? Do I just want to end there? Do I want to deface the web application? Or do I want to gain more further deep into the organization? So basically gain access to the web server itself. So those are the list of activities that they'll be thinking at the back of their mind. And then later on, he's going to check out the attack vectors. So basically, these are what they're going to do in the technical aspect bit. So the attack vectors will look like the non-authentication aspect or non-authentication attack vector, where we are looking at attacks like SQLI, cross-site scripting, for example, the current vulnerability, the log4j vulnerability, etc. And then he's going to look at another attack vector, authentication. So basically here he's going to need the usernames and passwords and a login page. Basically, that's what covers in the attack vectors. There are more attack vectors, so it could be malicious programs, it could be social engineering, it could be the physical security aspect that is trying to compromise, depending on the target of the attacker, what he wants to achieve. And then finally, he's going to come and based on the attack vectors, he's going to try and identify what is going to make his work be more complicated in achieving his goal. Because as I said initially, on the attacker's perspective, what he's trying to achieve is get the shortest route into the target. So for example, if let's say the target is having a web application file, so he already knows that most of the non-authentication attacks wouldn't work, for example, SQL or cross-site scripting. And back again, I'm sure some of you are going to assume that, okay, we are going to try and bypass the firewall, etc. Well, that would be more applicable to, let me say, the red teaming aspect rather than the attacker. The attacker will never spend 5-10 days trying to bypass your firewall. That is a little bit vague on the attacker's perspective. But if it is an employee from the organization, then yeah, that would be applicable. So let's talk about my personal experience when I was starting out in penetration testing, and how my threat modeling was. And later on, we're going to talk about currently how my threat modeling is. So this is me. I try my level best and gain access to the internet. Once I do that, the request goes through the firewall. And if it's not malicious, then you get access to the website. So this was a penetration test that I was doing back in the days. So once I was in the website, I started gathering a little bit more information about my target. What technology is the website using? What softwares and things like that. So from that, I managed to realize that the target was using a WordPress site. So from here, what I initially, I can't say initially, but what my intuition told me to do is go and scan for usernames and password using a tool called WP Scan. I think most pen testers know about this tool. So as I said, that's what I did. I went back, fired up my terminal, started up the tool, WP Scan, and then started to scan the target. But unfortunately, the firewall had the scan signature, and it managed to detect it. Hence, I couldn't manage to move further to enumerate for usernames and password on that side. But once again, remember, at this stage, I didn't know that there was a firewall in place. And later on, I decided to, let me try to do things manually. So when I say manually, basically try to emulate what the tool would do in order to get the usernames and passwords. So that's what I did. And I managed to get the credentials, and I managed also to get the admin panel. So what does that translate to you? Or let me say to me, what it translated to. So basically, it was that, number one, I wasted precious amount of time to go back and scan and use WP Scan. And also at the same time, I didn't know that there was a firewall. So I kept on trying using the tool, trying to figure out, what's going on? Why is the tool not working? Then later on, my intuition once again told me, go and do it manually. And I managed to get the credentials and admin panel. And at the end of the day, I successfully managed to authenticate into the back end of the web application. So that shows how inexperienced I was at that time in terms of threat modeling. And now we're going to talk about currently how I do my threat model before initiating any tools and attacking the web application assets of an organization that I want to attack. So as usual, we were going to access the internet, and then after that, access the website. And then later, I'll check what technologies that the web application is using. So on that aspect, you're going to see, let's say, for example, if it's a WordPress site, or if it's a Drupal site, etc., what plugins are they using, if there are any plugins being used, etc. So that's what I meant by checking the technologies used by the web application. So for our example, I'm going to use WordPress. So after getting to know that the technologies that are being used, later on, I go and check if there's any web application firewall being installed on the web application. Once that happens, if the web application firewall is present, then I'll go and perform a manual enumeration of usernames and credentials, etc. And then if not, I'm going to be able to use tools which are going to simplify my task. And here it doesn't really limit you to just WP Scan. I also mean you could use Acunetics to also perform your your enumeration and move it further. But once again, as I said, if there's a firewall in place, most likely the request being sent by Acunetics are going to get flagged and you're going to get blocked, right? And at the end of the day, you're going to miss out important information or miss out getting credentials from the web application. And what are you going to enumerate for? You're going to enumerate for credentials and then admin panel. And then at the end of the day, you're going to try and see whether you're going to be able to authenticate to the backend and then proceed further with your attack rather. So the importance of threat modeling, basically it's going to help you determine where you need to apply more effort and more effort on the assets that you have. As initially from the previous slides, the one of Batman and his assets, from that perspective, then Batman will most likely spend more effort in securing his Batcave and securing Alfred rather than securing his mobile phone and email addresses. He'll spend more time on that. So on a real perspective or real life scenario, for example, if you have a bank that has its main website and it has an internet banking, they wouldn't spend much time to secure its bank website because most likely the bank will be hosting the website with a third party. So basically it wouldn't have any impact to the organization compared to the internet banking. They will spend more time securing and implementing the latest technological tools in order to protect these assets from attackers. So as you see, that's the major importance of doing threat modeling, because you're going to know the assets that you have. You're going to try to map out what attackers are going to try to do with the asset or what asset they're going to try to attack. And that's now where you're going to know how to redirect your efforts toward assets. So also another important is it helps to create an abstract of the system. So basically a graphical representation of what you have, to have a clear picture of what assets you have in place. So basically it's what we had seen previously with Batman and his assets. And then later on you come and create potential attackers who are going to attack your assets. What are they and how are they going to attack your assets? And then later on you categorize. Well, when you do that, it doesn't mean it's going to remain as it is. You're always going to update your assets. You're always going to update your attackers column. Let me put it that way, because at the end of the day, as days goes on, attackers keep on getting smart, and they keep on developing new attack vectors on different type of assets. So if you, let's say today, 2021, you've created, you've done your threat modeling in your organization, you've already identified your assets, and you've already identified your potential attackers, and then you just left it that way for 20 years, you're still going to end up being hacked, because hackers keep on developing new attacking techniques that are going to bypass your security mechanism and going to help them get to your assets. So that marks the end of my presentation in terms of threat modeling and what it entails. I hope most of you managed to understand. And these are my contacts, whoever wants to reach out to me. And if you have any further questions that you want to ask, then please feel free to get in touch with me. I'm gladly to listen to your queries and help out where I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kharim. We liked your presentation, the content presented. So we'll see if there's any questions.
What other paths could be beside WordPress? Okay, I don't really understand that question. if you can rephrase it. Hello?
I think attack vectors, I think, or
Oh, so
used
if
by
it's if
platforms.
oh, different platforms. So different platforms, the attack vectors are going to be the same. It's not going to change. So for example, non-authentication on all web application website, web application, web applications rather, they are going to attackers are going to use the same attack vectors. For example, if it's SQLi, it's applicable in any web application. So it doesn't matter what platform you're using, if it's WordPress, Drupal, it doesn't matter what CMS you're using, but still the attack vectors are still going to be the same. It's not going to change. I don't know if I've managed to answer that question.
Yes, I think. What about some tools to see if there is a firewall, for example, used behind?
Yeah, so there is a tool called WAFWOF. So it's WAFWOF. You can get it from GitHub.
Can
Or no,
you
I think it comes.
just write the name?
Okay, it's WAFWOF. Yeah, there it is. So they can get it on. No, I think it comes pre-installed or with Kali. Yes, it comes pre-installed with Kali, which they can use. Just type in the command WAFWOF and then followed by the name of the web application that we're trying to check if it has a firewall or not. And then later on, we can proceed from there. Or another way to identify if a web application has a firewall or not, it could be, for example, you're trying to enumerate for usernames, and then once you've executed that command, you're not getting access again to the web application. Then that could be an indicator that there's a firewall.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if there is any usage of this threat modeling in companies, especially in Tanzania or in Morocco. Yeah, Tanzania.
Well, okay, the usage.
Yes.
Well, in most organization, I highly doubt it. I can't 100% say that most organizations do threat modeling because most of them aren't aware about threat modeling. So that's the problem. Like threat modeling has been, I think it's the most undermined aspect of penetration testing. Even whenever you go and let's say learn about ethical hacking, most of them wouldn't take you through threat modeling, which becomes a problem. But as I said, right now, I think majority of you already know about threat modeling, and it could be something that you could go and venture on further and research and just try and get comfortable with threat modeling.
Thank you, Mr. Kharim. Is there any, for example, certifications to have experience on this threat modeling, penetration testing?
Well, not really. This is just a skill that I managed to obtain from my mentor. He taught me about threat modeling, so not really. But I think Hackersploit does threat modeling in his courses. So I think let me just type it for you. Hackersploit. Just check his cybersecurity courses on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. You can search Hackersploit or Udemy. Yeah, I was looking for that name. Udemy. He has some ethical hacking courses. I think introduction and advanced level courses. So also guys could check that out. He does have a little bit of bits that he does try to explain on threat modeling. But yeah, it's something that guys have to really dig in and search the internet to be able to learn about threat modeling. But as I say, guys could reach out to me and I will be happy to explain and teach them how to do threat modeling in advance.
So you will just need some mentor to teach you this, or you
Well, not
can learn it from some paths in some certification.
Yes, for me, as I said, initially I had learned from my mentor. That's how I was exposed to threat modeling because I wasn't aware with this when I was starting out with my cybersecurity career. All I knew was the phases of cybersecurity was you enumerate, you scan, you exploit, and then you do privilege escalation. Those are the most common phases of cybersecurity. Then later, through my mentor, I managed to realize that there was that aspect of threat modeling. And that's why I even decided to take you guys through threat modeling rather than other aspects of the phases of cybersecurity, or rather ethical hacking, That was the main reason, because I know there's a lot of people who don't know about this threat modeling. And that's a huge problem, which I think a lot of people will spend a lot of time on, let's say, for example, trying to um, do user enumeration, for example, and will spend hours trying to figure out why your scanning tool is not working, while the simple reason was there's a firewall in place. Now, without doing the threat modeling and trying to figure out all this, then you're going to still to waste time on that.
I agree with you. So there is another question. I don't really think I get
Yeah.
it. Is penetration
No.
testing?
Well, so I really like this question. So, well, yes, penetration testing is still important, no matter what you have. If it's you have the next generation firewall, if you have intrusion detection prevention systems in place, it doesn't matter what security mechanism you have, but penetration testing is still important simply because, number one, any change in the environment, for example, let's say you've introduced a new let's say a new way to sign into to your web application or to sign into the system, then that could be a potential rise of another vulnerability that you guys didn't know about. That's why penetration testing is still important. Apart from that, in information security, we say the weakest link to information technology are the people. So once again, you could have the best security mechanism in place, but it will take only one person to click on a phishing link and you're done. So you see, without doing penetration testing, you're still exposing yourself to different type of attack vectors that probably you guys hadn't uh, put into consideration. So that's why penetration testing is still important to do in your organization. And if you don't know how to do it, well, you have my contacts. We could help you out.
Yes, I agree. He's a good penetration tester.
Yeah.
So I don't think there is still questions. If you guys still have some questions, yeah.
Okay. So before answering that question, let me just get some information. Just a moment. Let me do this because that question I really get it a lot. So I just want to share my website so that you can do a further reading based on that question. But I'm still going to answer it. Just give me a moment. So yeah, let me see. So number one, please share with, is it a so word? Share with them that link. That's one. And then here is the second one, cybersecurity entry path. So basically there, what I was trying to explain are how to get started into cybersecurity, what is really needed. And for that question, there is a lot of skills that you need. because as a penetration tester, you just don't depend on one skill. So getting to that, number one, you need to have can I say, a solid background in networking. So generally how computers communicate, for example, you need to understand the OSI model itself so that you can know from each layer of the OSI model what attack vector can happen, if it's phishing, if it's social engineering, if it's sniffing on the network level, etc. You need to have understanding of the networking concept. Number two, you also need to have an understanding of different types of operating systems, right? So basically, you'll find some people are good in using Windows, but don't know how to use Kali Linux. Then that, okay, because nowadays there's what is it called? Kali for Windows, but back in the days you had to learn Kali Linux, and I think it's still essential to learn Kali Linux as an operating system, understand its in and out, right? So you need to have vast knowledge of different operating systems. So for example, sometimes you could meet let's say some systems which are using Windows on their environment. Now, if you're not familiar with Windows, then you can't do any penetration testing. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect, you need to have just generally an understanding of how system administrators do their work. For example, how to open a port, for example, how to configure firewalls and rules. So you just need to have that basic concept on that area. And then another aspect will be learning about the command line, command prompt, because most of the hacking tools use the command line. So if you don't know how to use the command line, then it becomes difficult for you to do any type of penetration testing out there. So that's also another skill. And then another skill will be how to build your virtual environment, virtual labs rather, because at times you would want to try out an attack. Let's say, for example, currently the Log4j vulnerability, that will be something that you want to try out, but you cannot try out on people's live environment because that's illegal. So basically, you need to know how to build your virtual environment and work on that and practice on your skills, how to exploit that. So basically, those are the skills that you need. But for the links that I had shared, please just share it with them so that they could go to my website. I've explained it clearly what they need to learn while they are trying to get into cybersecurity as a career. Any other question?
Thank you. That's I think all the questions.
Yeah.
So is there any other labs that you recommend to learn penetration testing?
Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of platforms, let me put it that way, where you could learn penetration testing. So the first one is Hack the Box, the most popular one. The second one is Try Hack Me. And then the third one is Pentest Lab. And then the fourth one is it called, what is called? VulnHub. Yes, VulnHub. But also Cyber Talents do have their platform, which you could also get into Cyber Talents and learn from that. So I think also that's a platform that is also trying to come up with different attack vectors for individuals to learn. So I think those are the best 5 platforms that are recognized currently, and a person could go and learn penetration testing without being on the illegal side of the law.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other question? Probably from you.
Yes, I think I don't have.
Okay.
Just for the demonstrations. Is it more practical? Is there any more practical demonstrations that you can just use? If you can added more?
So for now, not really. Let me see. Just a moment. So probably I could try and demonstrate the aspect of what is it called? The trying and for example, if a target has a firewall and you're trying to use our tool to scan for the website and see whether the tool can be able to pick up due to the presence of firewall or not. So let me try and share my screen. Let me see. Hold this. Okay, now. I'm not seeing. Okay, let me just share. Hope you can see.
Yes,
Hello?
sure.
Oh, you can see. Okay, so basically, this is my website. We can try and scan it. Okay, so a disclaimer, I don't mean you guys should go and attack my website. No, I need to sleep. But yeah, this is the website. For example, if you search WordPress, you can see it is a WordPress site, right? Now let's make use of WP Scan as I was explaining initially. And hopefully, okay, let's see. So you see, so it's telling me the tool itself is telling me that the website seems to be down, which is not true because this is the website, it's up and running, you know. So as I was trying to initially explain that sometimes due to existence of firewall, you could be blocked sometimes. For example, if you attempt multiple scanning, depending with how the firewall is being set up. And for the tool, here is WAF. So depending how well you've configured your website or firewall, sometimes even WAF will run into an error. Okay, not an error, but wouldn't be able to detect the presence of a firewall. It all depends how the firewall of the target has been set up. But let me see. Think of a website. Let me say. I don't know if they do have a firewall. I don't know what's wrong. This is the reason why I don't like live presentations because of demo gods. But I think you guys have gotten the concept, hopefully. So, moment, please. Yeah. Well, it's not a really clear demonstration. Really clear of the demonstration, but I think I might share some demos that I might do, record them, and then share it with you guys for you guys to share with the guys who are listening. Because like I tried looking for best ways on how to present threat modeling because it's all about the concepts for you to understand rather than practically okay, I can't say practically doing it, but it's all about understanding the concept, how to do it, and it should be at the back of the mind. So that's why I was really struggling on how to produce labs for it, proper labs, in other words. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kharim. That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
So,
And for the guys who are trying to start into cybersecurity, so probably in the next few days, I'll be releasing 3 books that I've written. One is Introduction to Cybersecurity. The other one is How to Get Started into Cybersecurity. And the last one is Introduction to Kali Linux. So these are the 3 books that I'm planning to release. So I don't know if you guys will also be interested in reading them. And I might share the link where you could get them once everything is set, and then you guys can go through them. Let me just try and get some little bit of pictures. Just give me a moment, sorry. Okay. There's that. Sorry, I'm wasting your time. Just please bear with me one moment.
no problem. Take your time.
One moment. Just okay, yeah. And then this one. Yeah, so let me just share the screen for guys to see the books that I'm writing. Where is this? Okay, yeah. So this is the first one that I said, Introduction to Ethical Hacking. That's the first book. That's the second book. I hope you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. And this is the final book. So basically, for this one, understanding cybersecurity basically gives people the general concept of cybersecurity. What I mean is, there's a lot of myths that, for example, people say you need to have technical knowledge in order for you to strive into cybersecurity, which is totally not true. So the book covers that aspect. It's trying to debunk some myths on what's true and what's not true, and how you can really get started into cybersecurity, and the different roles that a person can get involved in depending on their strengths. For example, if you are good in talking to people, you could be a sales representative in a cybersecurity market, because at the end of the day, there are companies that are selling softwares to people. For example, Microsoft, they'll be trying to sell you their let's say Microsoft Office product, and they have variety of products in terms of Microsoft Office. So you see, you need to have a sales team person to be able to help you in assisting on the sales aspect of your product. So that's why I wrote this book, in order to debunk such myths that, okay, you only need technical skills to strive in cybersecurity and things like that. When it gets to Kali Linux, so basically it helps you learn different things in Kali Linux, like networking. It will help you learn about doing administrative works. It will help you about learning how to navigate in Kali Linux, and basically all those areas. And then Introduction to Ethical Hacking, it will just teach you basically the phases of hacking, what you need to know. I've also included threat modeling inside there, in-depth explanation of threat modeling, where I think it will help a lot of people. So these are the 3 books that I'm working on, and hopefully in the long run, you guys will be interested in getting the books.
Yes, sure. We'll make sure to share this links with them. And thank you, Mr. Karim. You are always active in the community, trying to help people. Thank you very much. And thank you also for the presentation. It was a wonderful one. And
thank you. But one question to you before you go.
Yeah.
Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you grasp the knowledge of threat modeling?
Yes, it's just I think there
Yeah.
is the practical side that is always needed
Yes,
to see
definitely.
things.
Yes, definitely. That's something I'll work on. And well, as I said, people could just come directly to me. I think you can share my contacts, either if it's LinkedIn or if it's my email or my Twitter account. People will just inbox me, and I'll try my level best to also try and help them out where they have any issues of concerns.
Thank you. So we
Well,
hope to
thank you
see
very
you
much.
in next opportunities, and
Definitely.
we
Definitely, I'm
invite
always
you
available.
to others. Thank
I hope
you.
next time we'll be on a physical premises in Morocco. I fly in.
Yes, of course. Sure. We'll invite you.
That would be wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Same to you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. So, hope you guys enjoyed this talk and got the most of the information that was presented by Mr. Karim. And for now, we are going to start this sorting of this tombola. We have 3 winners. Yes. Let me share my screen. No, it should just. So, congratulations, the next winner. No, just again, I think the same winner. So great. She's always, I think, nice. Congratulations, Haula Buka. And nice. Thank you for participating in this tombola, and congratulations to all the winners. You will get free access to the Quick Labs platform. In the next days, you will be communicated by this the credentials to access. So I will just think if you see. Yes, I think you saw the sorting. So congratulations, everyone. There was lucky people. So the next workshop will be at 3 p.m. So you are guys welcome to watch the second workshop by Mohammed Hasan that will be present an introduction to digital forensics. And thank you for watching. And thank you. Here we are going to stop this first live of the second day of introduction to cybersecurity. So enjoy your stay and have a good day.